welcome back to Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast here on the Boss Rush Network. I'm your host, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the wise Wisconsinite, my energy sword, Jesse Douglas.
How's it going, everyone?
Hi, Jesse.
Hey.
We played a lot of Halo last night.
Yeah, God, that game is so much fun.
I know. Also joining us, as always, is the joy of Arsenal X, the joy of EXP Cast, the man himself, the Stoy Jovic.
Hey, how's it going? I feel really left out when you guys talk about how cool Halo Infinite's multiplayer is, and the fact that I completely, utterly hate multiplayer. And I'm like, man, I feel like I'm really missing out. But Jesse, when you told me that they have bots where you can kind of compete as bots, I actually was thinking about buying it or downloading it this weekend, but I ended up downloading Resident Evil 4 VR instead.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which, not a bad choice either.
I thought you were
it's not a
downloading
bad choice.
Deer Simulator with 4 E's.
No, we'll talk about that later. About that later.
Also, programming note in advance, you're going to hear my son screaming in the background. He's sleep training. So I'm going to mute myself when I'm not talking, but you might hear him throughout the night. So this week's programming for Boss Rush is full of fun audio in things. Couldn't think of a cool word.
Yeah, the kid. So the kid's not being tortured in the background is what you're telling us, right?
Well,
yeah.
I don't know that for sure because my back is clearly to where he is sleeping, but what I've been told by the woman I'm married to, she says he is sleep training. So I'm going to go with that.
It'd be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You got to do the whole let him cry it out thing is usually and I mean, eventually you do have to check on them every once in a while, but yeah, it's for the most part you want to just let them. Yeah, it's never a fun part of the child, growing up part stuff. But
I mean that's fair. But I also found out that the cord hooking up my third monitor has burned out, so I have to order a new one.
Yeah.
Or what I might do is just use the old 2-monitor system I was working with and use my nice 4K monitor, my 4K 60 hertz monitor to play and or record some Xbox Series S content for the channel, whether it's Forza or Halo or So I think for our week off of Thanksgiving, I'm gonna try to do some cool things. Stoy, if you want to talk about some Game Pass things, and Jesse, if you're not working, maybe we can do this. What's this on Game Pass again?
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Oh, in terms of game, talking about particular games.
Yeah, whatever. If you find it,
blindsided.
If you want to, do I don't know if you, Jesse, I know you consume a lot of Giant Bomb content, but you know what quick looks are for them, where they play a game for a half hour, an hour and a half sometimes, and they just kind of talk about it. We can do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that. I mean, admittedly, I try to play at least one Game Pass game every week.
Yeah.
Just so I could talk about it, just to see what's on it. But I did a bad job this week because there was other things that came out that I wanted to play.
Well, I got you because I played 2 of them.
Oh, okay, cool.
On Game Pass, so
I heard
Halo Infinite and Halo Infinite. Look, Jesse.
Look.
Well,
3 technically. Though.
Look, Jesse. Big Team Battle and Arena are not 2 separate games. They are just 2 playlists in the same game. So
I was gonna say that doesn't count. I heard a lot of good things about Exocell or something like that. Is that what that's called?
Exo1.
Exo1, yeah, that was it. Josh on our podcast played it, and he said it was mind bending and it changed his life. Let's just say that. So it got me kind of curious that I want to download it. So
yeah, it's one of them that I played. I'll talk about it later.
Right, we'll save that later. We'll save that later.
When are we gonna have the EXP AXP crossover episode? When are we gonna do that?
Okay, we can make it happen.
When's that gonna happen? Yeah.
Yeah, like
We'll just have
'cause, I
Josh and Pat and Stoy.
Yeah.
I know Pat's on hiatus right now. He's kind of
it's one of those things where Pat has a crisis of confidence, and it's one of those things that he doesn't feel confident in his abilities as a podcaster. So he wanted to take a hiatus to kind of maybe, recharge the batteries a bit. So as far as his return, we're just kind of like, I mean, we're giving him that time to have it be like, okay, when you want to come back, we'll definitely, we have a seat for you. We'll welcome you with open arms. And I even like posted that, I shared that picture of him because he's not on our Twitter that you guys posted today about the whole network shout out, and he really appreciated that, even though he was like, why do they do that? And I was like, because you make a positive impact. Like, you may not think of it, you may not think you do, but you do. You make an impact. So
well, I'll be completely 100% honest. Like, I really enjoy when he's on shows. Like it, like I understand though, because I've felt the same way a lot. While doing this is like, I'll be, to be honest, I don't have the knowledge that I can retain as much as some people. Like Corey's really good about retaining knowledge of certain things, and I'm not great at that part. Like I know, a lot of different game stuff, but there's still a lot that I haven't retained, even though I've experienced it throughout my life. That's just not, a strong suit for me.
Well, Jesse, you and I have talked about this before, where like, even just podcasting, it's a skill that needs to be acquired.
Yeah.
And, you're not going to be coming out of the gate like firing on all cylinders, running it picture perfect. Even like some of the best podcasters out there took years before they really started to master their craft. And a lot of it, you have to be comfortable speaking, because we're speaking in front of people.
Yeah.
There's people out there listening to us. So you have to sound coherent. You have to sound, that's a lot of pressure to, put on yourself in terms of, okay, I want to not only sound coherent, but I want to be interesting at the same time.
Yeah.
And what Pat always brought a level of detail in what he talked about with games, that it was like, there was a lot of times where it's like he helped to explain a lot of things about his games that it was like, wow, he really kind of puts a lot of thought into it. And, admittedly, like sometimes he would talk about games that I was like, man, I got no business wanting to ever play this game, but I'm still interested in what he has to say. So it is kind of funny because I'm looking exactly where he would be sitting right now. And I think about like staring at him and just like deer in headlights, like, man, like anytime he talks about a Yakuza game and he looks at me, he's like, Stoy, you should play a Yakuza game. I'm like, nah, man, good. But
yeah, well, and that's the thing is like, like he definitely, I wouldn't want him to ever change, like be him, continue to be him.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Because that's what makes it interesting. And like you said, when he talks about something, he has so much knowledge to say about what he's talking about. And that's why, I really appreciate his additions, like when he's on shows and stuff. So like,
for sure.
Yeah.
That's definitely a skill that a lot of times I lack, and the rest of us lack. But it's like I said, we're giving him his time, and he's when he's ready to return, we always have an open seat. Obviously the table's big enough for 4 of us. So yeah. So, but
and Josh is always a lot of fun too. Like he's got like a little bit of that as well, but he's also, the humor and stuff like that.
And Dan is the weird. Dan is just the weird, where he's on another level that none of us could ever get to. Because like even today we had a taste test where we tasted beer flavored cotton candy.
Yeah. So
that's the opening of our episode on Monday. It's like we're eating beer flavored cotton candy and dried cod. Man, it's just what he brings is definitely another level of entertainment, I guess, so to speak. So.
Yeah.
But I know Josh is definitely more of an Xbox guy out of all 4 of us, so he would definitely be in on joining us one day. So We'll definitely get him on because he's got a good mic setup. So
Bring
I'll
him
talk to
on.
him.
Bring
I'll
him
talk to you.
on.
Oh yeah,
Bring him on.
Yeah.
we'll do it. And we'll get Pat back. Pat's coming back.
Yeah, because they'll
Bring
be honest,
Pat
I miss him
on.
the show. So.
Yeah,
Bring Pat on. Pat.
do it.
Pat. Pat.
Christmas is coming early, boys.
Ha!
Let's go.
Remember
So
the
yeah, what we're saying though is go
Tifa
check
will
out
also
the
be
EXP
there as well.
cast.
Yeah.
if you want to hear a
Not
really
to-
bad podcast episode, go listen to the first podcast I ever did. Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I was on the Life of Gaming podcast, episode 3. Just listen to it. I was terrible. It's fine. So
You ever go a lot of times I did that. I stopped very early when I listened to some of our first 5 episodes. Oh my god, just the sound quality was bad, and just our banter and I don't know, just like some of the public speaking stuff that I was like, man, I cannot string together 2 coherent thoughts. But like I said, it's a skill you just learn over time, and you're gonna have your bumps in the road, but eventually you get there. There.
Yeah.
and then you and then you learn like the words that you say all the time, and you learn how to cut out the ums and uhs and dead pauses. And I realized, like, going back the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of listening to see if I've been like slipping in anything. The word I've picked up a lot that I have seen to have picked up and used as a transition word is so.
Yeah.
And it really bothered me, especially on the 20th anniversary episode that we did. So was a word that I used probably like 20 to 30 times in about 40 minutes. And it really bothered me. And I remember I was listening. I don't even remember what podcast it was at a point, although all of them have probably said it. They're like, yeah, you just learn how to speak better when you listen to your old episodes and you try to critique yourself and your team and pass on the knowledge of what you know. And look, your first episode is never going to be good. This is for all you aspiring podcasters out there who are listening to the pros here at Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast. Okay. Your first,
the full title.
Yeah, I know.
That's how you know he's serious.
I have to say the Xbox podcast because there are so many Arsenal Football Club podcasts.
Yeah, that sucks.
So, and I didn't realize that when we named the show.
Arsenal, how did you do this weekend, by the way? Arsenal fans, how'd you do this weekend?
Oh, snap.
Okay.
I'm assuming they lost.
Not anger.
I'm assuming they lost. Okay.
They lost to the Reds, Liverpool.
Yeah. I wonder.
Handed them a beatdown. Sorry.
I wonder. No, it's fine. I wonder sometimes if there have been people who have checked out our podcast thinking it was a football, like something to do with the Arsenals.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think someone popped in the chat.
I think there's actually a review. I think there's actually a review, Jesse, from like right before we ended the show's run, before we brought it back. That was like, this is not a soccer podcast. I think there's actually a review on the show that says that.
Oh. Well, it's a good reminder.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, yeah, like that's, going and expecting one thing, and I can see where it's like, if you want to let people know, hey, this is not, that's fine. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we used to just say, I think, just Arsenal X. I don't think we really put the Xbox podcast, stuff at the end of it in the beginning there.
No, we used to just say it like when we were doing Nerds Gone Rogue stuff, we just because we just put an Xbox podcast on stuff just to like it wasn't on our box art or anything. It was just like in our organization materials, we just said, oh, it's the Xbox podcast. And obviously, now we say the Xbox podcast because it's the only Xbox podcast you need to listen to every week. No questions asked.
Damn right.
So.
Hell yeah.
See, my son's excited. He's screaming for us.
Yeah, he's like Xbox. Arsenal X. So as you develop more time behind the microphone, you listen to yourself when you have to. It's going to be cringy. You're going to hate the sound of your voice. You're going to over critique yourself. you're going to start to be obsessed with, I need a better microphone so I can sound better. And then I need a soundboard. And then I need to do some like kind of post editing work to like make my voice sound more even keel or whatever. You become obsessed with that. And I'm speaking for personal experience because I became obsessed with that for a while. And eventually you get to a point where it's like, using Corey's words exactly, it's fine. It's fine. You start to get rid of a lot of those filler words, the ums and the uhs and the so's. And it's perfectly acceptable to have like a little bit of silence, a little bit of just nothing. Just don't say anything. Instead of being compelled to say, don't say anything. You can fill that same amount of time that you say, with nothing, so you can formulate your own thought and continue on with your conversation.
It's definitely better to formulate your own thought in silence than just to, say and uhs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody always has those things that they say all the time. I say sick way too much. I've gotten better.
Yeah, but that's going on a shirt.
Sick.
Speaking of shirts, guys. Speaking of shirts, by the time this posts on podcast services, you will be able to purchase your very own Arsenal X, the Xbox shirt on our store. You can go
there's a store?
You can go to bossrush.net and click on the store menu option until I figure out how I can just put bossrush.net/store. And then it'll take you to our storefront. So I have been fiddling around with stuff for the store, and it's pending review. The design is pending review right now. The only one that's been approved right now is the Boss Rush Riders team shirt. And also mugs, stickers, blankets. If you have a significant other that wears mini skirts, also available.
Hey.
Should have put Arsenal XXX, am I right? Ha!
After dark.
So, yeah, that's coming. Very excited to finally get stuff up there. I went with Redbubble again just because it's the easiest store to navigate. It's the easiest to upload and get your stuff searched for. And
there's
everything.
A Boss Rush Writing Team dress.
There is.
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
And pillows. And pillows.
Okay, all right.
I can definitely see Lasby snuggling up on his couch on one of them big throw pillows, drinking out of coffee or tea. He seems like a tea guy. I think I remember him saying he's a tea guy.
Oh yeah, I think him and I have talked about that before.
Yeah.
Yep.
With his pinky out, writing something really important for the website or grading papers or something because he's a teacher.
So. He used the wrong where. He just spelled it WHER. It's supposed to be WERE. -10. Sorry, David.
F.
Failed. Learn English.
Write it again.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. I actually bought an Xbox shirt over the weekend. It's just not washed quite yet. So
yeah, I would like to get some official 20th anniversary merch from the store.
I really want the Forza controller.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. The someone ate a bunch of Fruit Loops and threw up over a controller. That one.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. That's fine.
it's just that's the thing is it's just so different and just weird and unique and full of color.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
It is a cool controller. The Halo one that comes with the console, however, is awesome as well. I wish they would sell that separately.
I hate that they don't sell that separately. I
know.
hate that so much.
I know. I hate that the Elite controllers, they should have put the Elite controller in the box with the console and sold the regular controllers for simpletons like us.
Yeah. Us plebs.
Yeah.
That just don't sit at a computer all day waiting for the Xbox Halo series to drop.
I like the see-through 20th anniversary Xbox controller too. That's cool. Yeah. The green grips on it. I guess it's more like the grips on it are more like the Pro controller though.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if Phil, our buddy Phil, over there,
our Lord and Savior,
over there at Xbox, you might have heard of him, Phil.
Yeah.
Played a lot of his Switch with the Pro controllers. Like, you know what, guys? I like this color. It's transparent. You can put little secrets in there. We should do that for our controller, our cool controller. And they're like, okay, Phil, we'll do it, but we'll put green on it. He's like, great thinking. Publish.
Hit publish. Here's all the money. Make it happen. Our Lord and Savior.
Oh, man. Love it. I love it, guys. You know what else I love? Housekeeping. This is Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast here on the Boss Rush Network, where each and every week we get together with our friends from around the internet to talk about Xbox and everything we love about it, from news, rumors, new games, Game Pass, and more. Check out Arsenal X live on Sunday nights on twitch.tv/Boss Rush Network at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Central, or on podcast services on YouTube on Tuesday mornings. I fudged that all up. It's fine. It's fine.
Ah, it's fine. People get it.
Follow us on all social media platforms at Boss Rush Network, or you can catch all of our podcast reviews, banter pieces, and more on our website at bossrush.net. Like I mentioned earlier, check out the store for your Arsenal X goodies. I'll probably have to adjust the prices on some things because, like, Redbubble tends to overprice things, and I just noticed that as I was looking at the store just now. So I'm going to adjust the prices. But that should all be fixed by the time you go look. Anyways, we're going to jump into what we've been playing. Stoy. You have an interesting list of games that you have been playing. Let's hear about it.
Well, once Xbox dropped that list of backwards compatibility games, besides the first game that was being dropped that was called 50 Cent Blood in the Sand, which, interestingly enough, that game has jumped in price a lot.
Yeah,
you buy it on eBay.
By like $130.
Yeah, because they took it off the digital storefront. That's why. So
but
you can't download it.
You can plug in an Xbox 360 and purchase it from the 360 store, and then download it to your Series X. You cannot buy it through the Series X store. You have to buy it through the 360 store.
Got it.
I did that.
That makes sense.
What was the other game? Oh, there's another game like that. Jet Set Radio, whichever one's on. It's backwards compatible, but you can't buy it through the Series X store. But you can still go back to the 360 and purchase it through there, and then download it on your Series X.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
so ladies and gentlemen, dust off those 360s.
Yeah, pro tip: if you want a game that is backwards compatible from the 360 era, and you can't purchase it through the Series X, try plugging in your 360 and going through the store there. Granted, the store is really slow, takes a lot of time to catch up and search for things, but
yes,
it could be worth it. Could be worth it.
Hey, what's a little bit of extra time to play 50 Cent? Come on,
dude. I watched somebody play like probably 20 minutes of it today. I was just like scrolling through and saw somebody playing it. Dude, that game's Gears of War. It's just straight up Gears of War.
Much Gears of War. Yeah, it is. It's Gears of War. But that's why it works so well, because they took a tried and true formula. Like, this game is good. Let's just make that same game. Instead of Marcus Phoenix, let's just put Fitty. And there you go. But anyway, the other game I saw on the list that I was happy about is a little game called Advent Rising that had a very tumultuous development cycle, very tumultuous release, and grand aspirations, good hopes of it to be the next big trilogy for the Xbox, but just crashed and burned and failed. Because right in the box, because I pulled this off my shelf, right in the box it says enter for a chance to win $1 million prize. And they did recoup their costs enough to have the $1 million raffle, so they canceled it, which is kind of funny. But it was a good idea. It was a good game. It was a really good science fiction action adventure game written by Orson Scott Card, who's very well known in the sci-fi writing universe. So, and it had a really good story. I mean, admittedly, I kind of forgot a lot of the main details, but your character is like this alien god. These aliens come in and they tell you, like, hey, humanity's about to be wiped out, just to let you know, and it's going to be happening in like 10 minutes. And humanity's like, what? So then all of a sudden hell breaks loose. These alien armies start to kind of, invade. And then these aliens realize that because these aliens that are warning you about this invasion worship the humanity as gods. Like basically like, well, you guys are like the kind of, holy shit, you guys are big shit, which is kind of interesting because humans don't really think of themselves as like, we're not that big. So the game is very much like third person action adventure. You're running around, you're dual wielding weapons, and you can kind of mix and match how you want it. So you can pick up 2 handguns, you can dual wield 2 assault rifles, you can wield an assault rifle and a rocket launcher or lasers, whatever. But for an Xbox game, they cleaned it up and they smoothed out the frame rate. So they actually put some work into this. And if you were to play it now, like for the first time, like if you never played it before, it actually holds up. Like it's actually it's a fun game. I mean, granted, the graphics can be a little bit blocky, but that was the product of its time. This game came out 15 years ago, but the game holds up really well. The action's really smooth. There's plenty of stuff to go around. What I like is that this game doesn't inundate you with like cutscene after every time you reach a different level. Like they don't have to like fill you with a bunch of story filler like every 5-10 minutes. Like the objective is like go from here to here. And you have a long sequence of action sequences, whatever, going through long gameplay sequences. And then, they don't like shove a cutscene down your throat for like 5 minutes. It's just like, okay, you got here and now you got to go there. Or now you got there, now you got to go there. So there's plenty of gameplay to be had. And especially if you like get into the mode, sometimes, when you play these like narrative games, you really get into the mode of just like, oh man, this is a really good action sequence. Like, and then all of a sudden, bam, 5-minute cutscene. It's like, oh god. So, reminiscent of Metal Gear Solid back in the day.
Yeah.
But, this is done really well, where it's just like action, 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 cutscene, action, 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 action. It's really good. So, I'm having a good time with it. I knocked out a couple hours of it earlier in the week, but I finally downloaded Resident Evil 4 VR for the Oculus Quest 2. And it's the first time I put on my Oculus Quest 2 actually in a while. So, have you guys have played Resident Evil 4, right?
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah, it's good in that it was revolutionary for the Resident Evil universe at the time because it took a lot more survival this time around than horror, so it became more action focused. And the VR translation is literally like first person mode. So like Armature is the developer, the guys that made ReCore. You remember ReCore?
Yeah, that gem.
Remember you remember that? They also made Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate. That was a good one. I like that one. It's a Batman Metroidvania. So they took that game, Resident Evil 4, turned it first person mode, and made it more of an action game. Like the game is super fun. Like it's literally the same game, Resident Evil 4, faithfully recreated in a completely different, viewpoint. We're talking first person, and obviously you see your hands, and you're obviously using your handgun, you're using your shotgun. I got about like an hour and a half into it, and everything has been faithfully recreated. Like that same amount of tension, same amount of action, except now the action's a little bit faster because you can actually run and shoot at the same time. As opposed to like you can only like stand still and shoot like in the original game. So yeah, because there was like so many moments where like like say in that main village area where you walk into this main village area and all of a sudden like all these villagers start coming at you with their little pitchforks and or whatever. I don't speak Spanish.
Wow, but someone's gonna yell at you in the comments for being a racist.
No, I was not. That was a celebration of your culture.
Oh, okay.
It was a celebration. Anyway.
Forza Horizon 5 is a celebration of the culture. Okay.
Please don't cancel us. Please don't cancel us.
Look, it's okay. We're gonna be us. People.
Listen, I can only be me.
We're gonna be us.
But so there's a lot of those moments where you can kind of get overwhelmed, and in the original Resident Evil game, I obviously couldn't like shoot and move at the same time, but in this one you can actually kind of like move with your joystick, and then like shoot at the same time to kind of get yourself a little bit of distance. Leon's knife is like super huge. We're talking like the Rambo scimitar like knife or whatever. And it's nice because you can have two different control sets where you can have your weapons selectable on a weapon wheel, or you could kind of pull them from your body. So like say for example, your knife is on your left shoulder. So like you grab your left shoulder and you grab and you pull your knife out.
Nice.
Your handgun is in your right hip. The ammo is in your left hip. So if you need to reload your handgun, you just pull the magazine from your left hip and load it, just like you would. And same with the shotgun. So like the shotgun is over your right shoulder or whatever your secondary weapon is, because you can manually select whatever your secondary weapon is. You pull over your right shoulder and you grab it, and then the shells obviously you put in just like a normal shotgun. And I think the healing items is left shoulder. So you go over your left shoulder and you pull it out that way. What I've heard is like women having a real bad time with grabbing the knife from their chest. Because if you're in the heat of the moment and you need to pull a weapon out, you're forcefully grabbing that knife, but you don't know your own strength, so you literally hit yourself as you're grabbing it. And I've experienced this before too, but I've read that actually women have an issue with this because obviously they're punching themselves in the boob, and that hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, my pecs are like rock hard. Like we're talking like solid steel chunks of metal, like just embedded in my pecs. So like I don't feel it, but I can imagine someone that was significantly weaker than me, or would feel pain. But I'm just saying. So, but yeah, like
my pecs are made of steel. Yeah,
made of pure steel, pure iron. But yeah, so like sometimes you don't know your own strength, and when you're moving around, you're trying to grab the gun. There was one time I tried to grab the knife quickly, and I accidentally went over my shoulder, and I pulled out a green herb. And the enemies are coming at me, and I'm like, take that. waving that green herb around, and I'm just like, ah. So no, but Armature did such a good job with this. Such a good job of this. Like the graphics are clear. I'm playing in full immersion mode, so movement, if you could take smooth movements and real-time movement instead of doing the snap turning and the warping around the map and stuff, if you could take that, man, this game runs super great. Super smooth on the Oculus Quest 2, and just, man, those action sequences are just so fun, especially in VR. It just adds another level, because I've replayed this game quite a few times. And admittedly, it's been a while since I last played it, because I'm like, this has kind of been done with. But this adds another level of, oh man, I want to get back into this again. So I'm eagerly awaiting the next time I can kind of play it. So
yeah, this, like, honestly, this was a big thing for me that made me want to get an Oculus Quest 2.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't yet, but it's definitely something I want to do, because I've played Resident Evil 7 in VR on PlayStation.
That's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like there were times where I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, like horror movies, horror games, that stuff does not scare me, like, at all. But man, when you're put in a situation where you'd have no idea when you're walking around a corner if something's gonna be there or not, like, it's just so much different. It's so much different.
It really is. Like I'm pretty sure you guys have played the PT demo years ago when it came out. And someone faithfully recreated that game in full VR mode.
Oh.
Like created everything. And I remember putting that headset on. I couldn't play longer than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I couldn't, because it was like, I played the game numerous times because I showed the game numerous times to people. And I've gone back and forth with it because I still have the PlayStation 4 with it installed on it. And I will never get rid of that PlayStation 4 that I have. But yeah, the playing that in VR, I was like, I couldn't get past 10 minutes. It was like, nah, I'm good. But yeah.
Yeah, because like I even like I made my wife play. I made my wife play Until Dawn, Rush of Blood, which is another really good one on PSVR. Like I know it's just a sit down, like, arcade shooter type kind of thing, but it's just fun. You're on a roller coaster ride and shooting at things and stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, that's definitely an easy one to get people's feet wet in terms of VR, because I mean, a lot of VR games now are very accessible for a lot of people. So like, if you don't have a lot of space, you can play Resident Evil 4 because it doesn't require you to move all around the room. But you could sit down and play this if you wanted to. Like, there's actually a setting where you can actually, okay, are you sitting or are you standing? So like, I like to stand when I play VR games because I like to kind of turn and move around. So, but yeah. So this is if you have an Oculus Quest 2, this is a must-have, like absolute must-have. This is up there with like games like Beat Saber and Super Hot and stuff like that, where it's like this is a must-have title. It's $40. It's definitely worth every dollar that you spend. Definitely worth it.
It's only on Quest 2 though, right?
Yep. Exclusive to Quest 2.
I just want to make that clear. I just wanted to, like, if people just aren't keeping up with VR stuff on other platforms, just,
And admittedly, like, VR had this really big push like a couple years ago, and it's kind of tapered off. Like, it's still a thing. There's still development working on it. There's still games coming out for it, but it's not the big titles that you expect. So this is probably one of the biggest titles to come out this year for a VR headset. Like I mean, AAA quality, even though it's not quite AAA quality, but it's still like, this is a must-have IP to, that's exclusive to the platform.
Yeah, and I think like right now, I mean, PSVR is like they're eventually planning on making a new one, but yeah, I mean, the Quest 2 makes it so much easier too, not being tethered to a computer or a console.
Yeah.
Like that's I think why they they probably chose to bring it there only, because I mean, it's like, it's still not like super popular, but it's still pretty popular. But yeah,
and that's where I wonder where Sony's going to go with their VR headset, because they said they're developing like a PSVR 2, but you get the immense amount of freedom with the Quest 2 that's really nice. However, you don't have the hardware that can play some of these higher quality games. But obviously the Quest 2 has the ability where you can tether to an actual PC and you can play like games like Half-Life Alyx, for example. You can't play that on the Quest 2 unless you're tethered, or you have a Oculus Rift S, which is the kind of the flagship kind of higher quality hardware wise VR headset.
I've wondered if they have something inside the PS5 where literally all you'd have to do at some point is just tether it to it, and it you don't have to worry about all the stupid big box of pieces you gotta plug in, like that. The PSVR
that was annoying,
is so annoying.
Yeah,
but
that was
I mean,
annoying.
it's good, but it's annoying. I'm hoping eventually Microsoft is going to, like, do something with consoles. I don't know that it's going to be anytime soon, but
they keep saying, I know Phil Spencer keeps saying that it's not in the cards.
I wonder if that's something, because I mean, I know they have like a unique PC strategy kind of thing going on right now. Like, I wonder if they're just going to leave that, and if they'll partner with someone like Valve or someone to just, I guess Valve already runs on Windows. I mean, like, it's just, I wonder if they'll just say that's the VR platform. If you want to play, if you want in Microsoft's VR platform of choice, you have to play on a PC and go through Steam or something like that. I think they're perfectly comfortable not having VR on Xbox at the moment.
Well, see, like, my theory was that because Facebook owns Oculus, like, I was thinking that we would eventually just get it where they would work on being able to tether the Quest to the Series X, and be able to play, games like that way if you wanted to.
They do have that entire like partnership with Facebook, because I mean, remember when they sold Mixer to the Mixer technology to Facebook? They have their whole kind of cloud gaming initiative with Facebook that we haven't seen anything from yet. Like, maybe you're right, Jesse. Maybe Facebook's stuff is maybe they partner with Facebook to get like an Xbox version of Oculus.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah.
And I thought that before Facebook bought them out, I thought that Microsoft was going to work some sort of partnership with Oculus at the time to be like, obviously, if you can play the Oculus, whatever new iteration of Oculus, the headset that they came out with, like you could also, not only can you plug it into a PC, but you can actually plug it into an Xbox and have it be like that, maybe the Series X or whatever the new ones at the time. But once Facebook came in and bought it, so I was like, all right, never mind, that's done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's something that takes a lot more planning and like, detailing what, they just want to take their time, I think, before they decide, make any decisions on stepping into that. Because
Right.
I mean that, it's not a cheap area of building games and creating games. I mean, it's still, it's still pretty much in an infancy stage. I mean, until like all the big major platforms are supporting VR like full on, it's still, a pretty niche.
Well, there still is a, like you said, there still is a contingent of people and gamers out there that really think it's a gimmick.
Yeah.
And the VR headsets are much more versatile than that. Like, it's not just a place to play games. Like, it's a place to watch movies, to watch videos, to even like they have like mini experiences where like, you can actually like navigate through, real life areas, and which is something that's pretty cool, or narrative stories that you can kind of watch and be a part of. It's there's so much VR headsets can do that's more than just games. And is it going to be a place where we're going to get a lot of big AAA titles? Probably not. There's a lot of games out there that are kind of like maybe AA at the most, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, your Resident Evils and stuff are very few and far, between.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like they're really the only ones to really be the bigger games that are all in for the most part. So,
but otherwise, Jesse, what have you been playing?
So I actually we talked about it earlier, but I've played the XO1 game, and it's a really, really, calm and relaxing, just fun kind of game, but it definitely takes some like getting used to trying to figure out like how to do things. But essentially, like, really, like, as far as I've played, like, you're just basically you're figuring out a way to get from point A to point B, and then you kind of get some like story in between. Um so so like, one of the cool things is like there'll be these areas where there's storms and stuff, and in order to be able to make your little disc thing fly, you've got to turn into a ball and you roll on the ground and you kind of store up energy. And then once you roll up a hill, if you got to try to flatten out at the right time to use that hill to kind of bounce off of it and go flying up high. And then like you'll see this like orange in the back of your disc area that starts to kind of fade out, meaning that you're running out of energy, and then you got to restore it. But there'll be these storms in certain areas that will just continuously, as long as you fly in it, it refills your energy and gives you, so then you can kind of, like, try to plan your flight where you're staying in those storm clouds to kind of, get your way there without having to roll on the ground. Yeah, it's just super relaxing and laid back. But like, sometimes when you're flying in the clouds, you'll see like literally like a flash on the screen of some kind of situation or something that had happened or you had seen or whatever, or like a memory kind of flash on the screen. And so as you're going, I feel like you're going to learn more about those things that they're just kind of throwing at you, and you have no context as to what it is or why you're seeing it. So yeah, like it's like gameplay wise, it's pretty relaxing, and it's just kind of like you're almost floating through like literally floating through a story. But yeah, it's fun, and it's definitely a different and unique way of doing something, and I always love that. Like, you know, like I've been playing that Inscription, and I, you know, it's kind of like that, where it's just a very unique way of having a gameplay that is also feeding you story, but it's kind of like not your normal way of doing it, I guess is the best way to describe it. So yeah, like I think it's definitely worth giving it a try, and you know, if you just feel like a chill, you know, like you just want something chill that's not too difficult or takes a lot of thought, like it's definitely one of those kind of games, like a podcast game too, honestly. Like if you just want to float around. It did take a little bit though of, you know, trying to get used to just really mastering that roll up a hill and you know, flattening out to really get the best out of it. But outside of that, I mean, it's a really good game, and I do like what they're doing with it. So I definitely am gonna go back to it again.
Cool.
You know, it's kind of one of those games I got to be in the mood for, like, you know.
Yeah, kind of like a relaxing, chill mood. Like not,
Yeah.
you know, obviously maybe it's like, you know, a rough day. I know sometimes I have those where it's like a rough, long day, and it's just like I just want to play like a walking simulator type game, or just like a kind of like a chill atmospheric game. And that sounds like something that would be like that, where it's like, man, I just want to play something chill.
Yeah, or like even if you just like me, a lot of times when I get home from work, I want to do something to wind down a little bit before I go to bed or whatever. And I think that would be a perfect game for something like that too, is just kind of like reading a good book or something, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I played that, and then I also tried out the rocket game that they added to Game Pass, where you build your own rockets and stuff.
Kerbal Space Program?
Yeah,
What is it?
I think
Is it the one with the little aliens that you blow up?
No. It's the one where you build rockets and you have to launch them yourself. It's the
Oh man, why am I drawing a blank on that?
Is it the one where you can attach like teddy bears to the top of it, and like you start out with like a bottle rocket, and then you work your way up to like the big rockets?
Yeah. I just played it, and literally I was playing it before we started the show.
I'm looking for it.
I won't forget it. Dang it.
Oh, I have one.
Yeah.
I have one thing to put, one thing to turn in, quest to turn in. Neat. I can't find the rocket game. Rocket Man.
I don't. Yeah, I was trying to search the Game Pass part, but I can't find it. But yeah. But anyways, like, while you're looking for the name of it, it's so yeah, you basically you're like, you're this person who's wants to start your own it's like YouTube, but it's called like Rocket Tube or Space Tube or something like that.
Okay.
And so like you want to be this, you know, an influencer, and you know, and build these rockets, and then you record you launching them and stuff, and then you upload them, and like there's a whole like all kinds of stuff like with dealing with like social media, or like you're in a chat rooms with different people, and like you've got a chat room for the people you're buying the parts from, and like it's interesting. I don't know like I hope eventually it gets to the point of where like you have just a whole bunch of crazy parts that you can go crazy with building. And I believe, that we've seen that much in the preview for it. But like in the beginning, it kind of starts off pretty slowly. You're given you get the tube, the little fins, the end, the cap piece, and then your little booster uh, thing, and you just start off with making your basic, rocket that you can go and get at any, most hobby shops or whatever. And then so you upload the videos, and then it will say, oh, it got 1,000 whatever views, and then it says that you've got so many subscribers. And so like basically the idea of this game is to try to get as many subscribers to your YouTube page as you can, and then that gives you more and more revenue to, I believe, to like buy more and more stuff. And so like one of the kids, like these kids says, hey, I really liked your video or whatever, would you do a video and make my teddy bear, like into a rocket? He's like, and like, I'd love to see, him fly or whatever.
Mhm.
And so then,
You murdered the bear, didn't you?
Jeez.
No,
Jesus, Jesse.
He ended up like
did it
Combat
to
Carl from
himself.
Toy Story. Gone.
Did it to himself. No. So like it's, I don't know, like I think once, like I said, like once you unlock more stuff and can just kind of go crazy with it, I think it will be a lot more fun. But in the beginning, like I'm not super into the whole like YouTube like whole, I get it, they're trying to have like a whole story narrative to it. But I'll be honest, I think it would just be kind of fun to just have a whole bunch of pieces that you could just mess around with and try to make something. And kind of similar to like those bridge builder games, kind of where you like you just mess around with things, and you got to figure out what works and what doesn't, and and then get graded on it after you launch the rocket, get graded on it, and and try to improve and do better. So I don't know, it's not bad, but I'm glad I tried it. But I don't think it's something I'm probably going to spend too much more time with. But it is a cool idea, for the most part. So yeah, and then obviously Halo.
Yeah.
We played Halo multiplayer and loving that. So
Yeah.
but that's about it for me.
Man. Halo is a game.
Is it though?
It is.
You guys make it sound like it's an experience.
Dude, it was such a great experience last night, especially last night, because it was like that was the first time I got to play with friends, because I played with Jesse and his friend Pat. So we were playing. How long did we play? Like 3.5 hours last night. Jesse, it was a while. It was to the point where like it got to the point where it was later than I normally stay up, and I was like, man, I should probably go to bed, and I probably played 2 or 3 more matches than I should have.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know if the kids are gonna decide to get up early tomorrow, so I should probably get to bed.
Spoilers: they woke up at like 7, so it was a good thing I went.
Yeah, but, my kids normally get up at 6.
Look, if I wasn't keeping myself cognizant, I would have played till like 3:00 in the morning. It was so fun. Yeah. Oh my gosh, It was so fun. And by the way, I suck at Halo, but it was still fun. It's one of those games that's like really fun to suck at, especially when you're like playing with friends who don't care that you suck, like Jesse and Pat. I mean, my KD's like barely 1, maybe most of the time, and I like playing the objective modes like capture the zones and capture the flag and oddball and stuff, and big team. That was my first real experience with big team battle also. So learning those new maps was cool. And I don't know, Halo is. I wrote a piece on the website this weekend about Halo and kind of like the ups and downs in my experience with Halo Infinite so far. And this year was the perfect year for Halo Infinite's multiplayer to be not only be free to play but be out in general, right? Like and there's a few things I wish they would change. Like I want them to have, just a Team Slayer playlist or a SWAT playlist, which I'm assuming are going to come at the point or at launch of the campaign.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought too. I think we'll get a major update on that kind of stuff once the game launches.
Yeah.
But for right now, I think they just wanted people to get familiar with all the game types.
Yeah, I mean, it's still in beta, right? I mean, that's they're going to use that tag until the game comes out. And a lot of the weapons from Halo 4 and 5 are still missing. A lot of the Covenant weapons are still missing. All the Promethean right? Prometheans, that's what they're called, right?
Yeah, I think so, isn't it?
I don't know. That doesn't sound right.
Wait.
Halo pro something P. It starts with a P. Anyways, all those shiny Metroid-y looking weapons are missing. That glow orange.
Yeah.
They're all missing. But there's a lot of cool new weapons from the brutes. And what was that one you always were chasing? The Mauler? Is that what it was called?
Yeah, the Mauler is. Yeah, it's like
that hand cannon shotgun type thing, right?
Yeah, it's almost like a revolver, like a Magnum revolver, but it shoots I feel like it just shoots like big spikes or something.
Yeah. And then there's the Impaler weapon that just literally just shoots spikes out.
Yeah, it just shoots one big large spike.
Yeah, there's a couple burst rifles, Covenant burst rifles that are in there that are cool. The shotgun, I don't like the design of the shotgun, the new UNSC shotgun that's in there, but it hits hard. And at the end of the day, I guess the designs of the weapons don't really matter. I wish the battle rifle hit a little bit harder, but I know they're kind of tweaking stuff, and I know the battle rifle was something they said was too powerful in the test flights, so maybe they're still trying to balance everything before launch. I mean, they have 3 weeks to balance these weapons, so I'm not really concerned. But the lack of playlists and the battle pass progression, which they've kind of addressed already, were the two kind of biggest complaints that I had. But the moment-to-moment gameplay and the guns and just laughing with your friends is all still there. Dude, it took me back to college when the Xbox was in our common room, and it literally the Xbox never turned off. It was always on. It never turned off to the point where the box would just run hot, and we had to put a blanket underneath it because it was literally leaving a ring in the table it was sitting on because it was on all the time. And Halo 2 never left the box unless we were going to play Halo 1 one night, a giant LAN party of Halo 1. It just never turned off. It took me back to those nights. It took me back to playing Halo 3 in Gears with friends right when those games were coming out on 360. It took me back to a part of life where I was I didn't have any responsibilities or really worries or cares, and it was just really nice to sit last night, and even though we weren't sitting in the same room or whatever, it still brought me back to those nights where Halo was the biggest thing on the planet.
Yeah.
And I think with Halo Infinite's multiplayer being free, Call of Duty seemingly having a down year, Battlefield being extremely broken, and both of those games costing $70 plus.
Yeah.
Halo is extremely polished. It's free. It's fun. Everything just works. The cosmetics are even cool. I love the Reach cosmetics that they have for the multiplayer game, the Battle Pass this season. And then the only thing I was watching some the Giant Bomb discussion on Halo Infinite's campaign. The only thing that's going to really suck, based on the way the campaign is kind of designed, is tackling this campaign with 2 or 3 other friends would be extremely fun.
Yeah.
Like to the
Maybe
point.
we gotta wait till like about March, huh?
Yeah. I know they said May. They said co-op would probably not
Yeah.
even hit until at least
man.
May. Which kind of sucks.
Which is really a bummer.
But that's also when season 2 launches of the multiplayer. So they could do like a big kind of, I don't know, event surrounding co-op, and Forge is also coming then.
Yeah.
I think it would be really cool for us to just hang out one night, maybe do the show through, like maybe just like a let's play show of Arsenal X while we play through the campaign, like the opening missions of the campaign or whatever, one night. Or maybe just stream it on a Saturday night or Friday night or whatever, if we're all available, or, you know, a couple of us are available, whatever. Like, just get it in there.
Yeah.
Halo Infinite is special. What I wrote in my piece on the website, I said Halo's multiplayer is back, and it's back with a vengeance. And I really think Halo is going to, I think it's going to be in the conversation of Fortnite and Warzone. And I think that their plan to keep this game around for 10 plus years is actually going to work, to be honest.
It sounds like it's going to be similar to like Warzone, because Warzone passes along with each passing Call of Duty. You know, but like at the very least, I hope we'll get at least more Halos in terms of campaigns. But,
well, they said that they're aiming to add story content as well as multiplayer content. So
very cool. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys played Halo 4's kind of the Spartan Ops campaigns. What I'm imagining is that idea wasn't fleshed out and too ahead of its time to really be a proper kind of source of gameplay for them. But what I'm imagining is they're going to have seasons of Spartan Ops as well, where maybe you're not Master Chief, but you're your own multiplayer Spartan, and you go on missions with your friends on the Halo ring and kind of like solve new secrets, tell new stories, and that's how they get the ODST style content in there, but with your Spartan.
Like I said, I still think it would be cool to play games off those branching storylines. It would be really nice to have, like, you know, to see more what's going on in the Halo universe besides just Master Chief.
Yeah, and I mean they're kind of setting that up with the multiplayer. Like,
good.
If you play the intro, if you play the intro thing to like the story kind of part of the multiplayer, they kind of, you know, explain, you know, this, they've built this arena for these people to become Spartans and to get better, so they can go out there and, you know, do all the other work that's happening while, you know, Master Chief is out doing his thing. And like, you know, like we've seen part of some of the story that they drop in that video where the one girl is out hiding and she's you know, among the Covenant or whatever, and then you know, like she gets seen by them, and then Spartans show up to help her, and then she eventually becomes a Spartan who's you know, a leader, a high up leader.
Yeah.
And so they kind of explain the whole multiplayer as being where they're trained to become heroes.
Yeah, and like the multiplayer is kind of like, hey, we're training you for combat, and then what I'm imagining is that they're going to integrate that Spartan Ops idea from Halo 4, and she's going to be like your point person, where she's going to be like, hey, can you go to this location, investigate, and you go do a mission for that, and then you level up your Spartan that way. Because what they were saying with the single player campaign is it's actually has RPG elements where you can find like upgrades for your shield, like your overshield on the ground, and like then you can kind of build Master Chief the way that you play. Like if you're a running gun, you can upgrade your shield and have a big huge shield and build up your shotgun stuff and you know, kind of go in kind of guns blazing, or you can kind of build yourself out as like, okay, well, I want to have better sniper build, and you can build your chief out that way. Although I don't know how you would want to do that, because to me, Halo's always been let's run in and just blast people with all kinds of crazy weapons.
Yeah, but I mean but they want to give. I think the whole idea of this game is they want people to be able to play it how they want to play it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like kind of like the a lot of people have related it to the Far Cry games, or and stuff like that.
And the thing is like, since I've never really played a Far Cry game since like 3, this whole idea of a first person, let's go capture the outposts and take guys out and grab the thing and activate it, and now it's our outpost type deal, is going to be a fresh idea for me, even though like Far Cry has been around forever, and I kind of bought 3, 4, and 5 to kind of play through because I've been wanting to for a while and I just haven't. But yeah, Halo Infinite's multiplayer is going to be a force to be reckoned with over the next year, probably until, I would say, probably Modern Warfare 2 comes out next year. I would say for it to maybe be dethroned as someone's kind of primary if you're looking for a Call of Duty to play or whatever, something different. Again, I don't think what I was talking about on Tower Casuals the other day was like, if you're looking for a PvP game where you don't have to think about builds, where you don't have to think about weapon loadouts or anything, you have your loadout, you go find the power weapons, you go find your preferred weapon on the field, right? You don't have to make sure that my chest piece lines up with my hand cannon and my power weapon in my power slot to kind of create this build to make sure that my super can go off at the right time when I need it. Like, it's just, I think we're at a point now where progressing your multiplayer character has gone too far in one direction, that the simplicity of Halo, and I think it's why Fortnite's so popular too, is it's so simple, right? Yeah. You don't have to worry about loadouts. You don't have to worry about builds. You go find the weapons and you play with the weapons you have. And if you're successful, you're successful. And if not, you start over again. And I think that's where Halo is going to succeed.
Yeah, the biggest thing you do in that game in Fortnite now is you can get nuts and bolts that allow you to like alter the gun into a different version of it, or you go to the workbenches, and if you got gold, you can upgrade it to be more powerful, and that's all you worry about in that game. Other than building. But
so if you haven't played Halo Infinite, I suggest you try it out. It is free. It's not a very big file size. Go check it out.
No.
I've also been continuing my
sick.
Yeah, I've also been continuing my trek through Forza Horizon 5, which is awesome.
Nice.
That feels like a game I'm just going to leave installed and maybe do like 1 or 2 or 3 races a night and then play something else. You know what I mean? That's what that game feels like. It's still, dude, that game is so awesome. Oh,
yeah.
It really is.
I hate this. There's too much to play right now. I went through like 2 or 3 months where all I was playing was banging my head against Metroid Dread because I suck at Metroidvanias and I can't find where to go. To like, now I have Forza, now I have Halo, now I have Guardians, now I have Outriders, New Horizon stuff. Like, there's too much to play. Destiny's 30th anniversary event starts in like, a week and a half. There's too much to play, and I'm overwhelmed, and I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy also I've been playing. Not really anything new to report there. Still fun. Also on sale. I said if you wanted to play it, it's on sale right now, $38.99 on Xbox.
Nice.
And I think it's $29.99 if you want the physical version.
Nice.
So go check it out.
I actually ended up picking up the Resident Evil triple pack for the Nintendo Switch this weekend. I had to go to like 3 different GameStops to find it, for crying out loud. But it's $40, and you get Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. And I think if you were to just buy Resident Evil 4, it's like almost like $40. So like the fact that you're getting like 3 games for the price of 1 almost is like amazing.
Some would say those are the best Resident Evil games.
Well, some people don't like. A lot of people don't like Resident Evil 6 because it's more actiony. But I liked Resident Evil.
That's 6. Why I liked it, because it was Gears of War, but in Resident Evil.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like Gears of War and Call of Duty, and all rolled up into one.
Yeah.
So
I really liked Resident Evil 5 and 6. I'm sorry.
I did too. Honestly, like it's like I said, if you made the same game over and over again, if Resident Evil, the series Resident Evil, followed the same formula that 1, 2, and 3 had, the game would have died. The whole series would have died because it's like redoing the same thing over and over again. You got to change with the formula every now and then. Sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. If Resident Evil 6 didn't happen, we wouldn't have gotten Resident Evil 7, I think.
Yeah. Or at least the version of Resident Evil 7 people wanted.
That we got. Yeah, for sure. We would have gotten Resident Evil 7, but it wouldn't have been like what it is in its current form. So, like I said, I had a lot of fun with Resident Evil 6, even though a lot of times it got a lot of batshit craziness going on, but it's still good.
Yeah. Still good.
I never honestly really gave 5 or 6 an honest try. That was one of those things where it was like 4 had already turned me off because at the time I wasn't ready to move on from the whole like more zombie stuff. I don't know. It's kind of like what happened with Wind Waker with Zelda. Like coming off of Ocarina of Time, I just really liked that, and then I just never been a cell shading a fan of that, like that art style in games. It doesn't do it for me a lot of the times.
No, I agree. I definitely was not a fan of Wind Waker when it first came out, but I gave it a shot when it came out on the Wii U and its remastered form, and yeah, that's when I was like, oh, all right, this is actually not bad.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, I haven't gotten to play it on the Wii U, but I'm hoping it eventually comes to Switch because I definitely would give it a try.
Dude, the day Twilight Princess and Wind Waker come to Switch, I'm selling my left testicle to buy them. Not really. I'll just spend this probably $60 each that they probably will be, because they're not going to bundle them because it's Nintendo, and they'll be $60. But I will buy them both, and then you'll hear everybody on the internet complain as they're taking out their credit cards to purchase them.
Nintendo gonna be Nintendo.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, at least Twilight Princess should have been on it a long time ago, considering they have the whole using your amiibo in Breath of the Wild, but yet
that's like the best part of Breath of the Wild is that you can just scan the Wolf Link amiibo in there, and if you played Twilight Princess and upgraded it to 20 hearts or bought a card, I guess, off the internet, like you basically just have a companion with you at all times. Yeah. And you can heal it. Yeah. Like you can heal it by feeding it raw meat and stuff. Like it's super easy to heal if it's injured. Like he'll help you in boss fight. It's so fun. It changes. It changes the entire game. Sorry, I know this isn't Nintendo Power Block, but like, gosh.
Yeah.
It's like that's the only amiibo. Like I have all my Zelda ones on a shelf just because I used them all the time for Breath of the Wild. And then I just carried my Wolf Link amiibo around with me because like I would just scan it in and he would just be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember buying an NFC tag that had all the new costumes pieces on it before they were even the amiibos were out yet. Yeah. Somehow
it's like got them. The Zelda amiibo are the ones that I would like. I really want to look for because they the costumes. That's the only thing in Breath of the Wild I haven't completed was all of the costumes because I don't have all the amiibo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So any hoozles, guys.
Any hoozles.
Yeah, that's what I said, Stoy.
Okay.
It's an Ohio thing.
Jesus.
Okay. Go shovel some snow.
Is it?
Yeah, go shovel some snow. Okay.
All right.
Go commit murder in your state. Okay, it's legal apparently. So.
Yes, it is. Don't get us started. Oh God.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, not going there. We're
not going
cutting
there.
It off.
Jesus.
We're cutting it off right there. Speaking of news, okay. Speaking of Halo, we're going to talk a little bit about Halo. Jesse, you said you didn't want to talk about Halo till it's out. Well, guess what? Multiplayer's out. Halo Infinite has officially gone gold ahead of next month's release. Great news. Great news. Halo Infinite has officially gone gold ahead of its release on Xbox Series S and X, Xbox One, and PC next month. When the game goes gold, it typically means the game is completed and is ready to print to disc. and then distributed around the globe. There's an official tweet from the Halo account. Also, Joseph Staten had a nice tweet about it, said that, the team worked really hard over the last year to get this ready. I don't know if you guys watched Game Informer's side-by-side comparison video this week of the graphics from last year to this reveal. It's like night and day, man. It's so it's so cleaned up. They really polished the crap out of this game, and you got to give it to them. Got to give it to 343 and the team really polishing this game up. Now, from all accounts that I hear, the campaign, at least the beginning hours of the campaign, are really awesome. Mm-hmm. I want to believe that, and I'm really excited to play. I'm really excited to play this campaign. I know you guys are too. We're going to be talking about this game for probably 2 or 3 weeks, probably.
I haven't heard a single person yet that I've looked into who's played it. Played the beginning of like the 10 hours or whatever they've played in it. I haven't heard one single complaint that's anything substantial that would be a game wrecker. Like I had talked to you, Corey, about it. There's some complaint early on in the game. There's like big chasms that are you have to go around to get to where you need to go. But once you get a flying vehicle access and stuff, it's not a big deal. But it makes sense. You're gonna have those things where it's harder to traverse at first, and then you kind of find what you need. That's not uncommon for open world games, but yeah. So like I've been hearing a lot of great things. People even being after playing that little bit of it, being bigger fans of the Halo franchise because of it. So yeah, I've been hearing a lot of great things, so I'm super excited for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
Speaking of Halo, guys, the TV, just to kind of like an add-on, the Halo TV show is supposedly going to be revealed at the Game Awards. We got a little bit of a tease. We talked a little bit about it for our 20th anniversary video podcast type thing that we did. It was about 40 minutes long. You can go check that out if you want. It's probably the last audio thing you saw on your feed. You guys interested in the Halo show? I mean, I don't really think there's anything to be excited about until we see something significant. They got the armor right. The armor looks cool. The helmet looks like Master Chief's helmet. Although if they're doing a retelling of Halo 1 or like a before Halo 1 type story, should have gone with the Mark 5 helmet, not the Mark 6, but I'm not going to be too picky. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, I'm going to hold off on. I mean, is this live action?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say, because it like the tech looked really good, but I was like, man, I know like sometimes CG animation looks so lifelike these days that I was like, it looks real, but like I don't know if that's just the hyper realism that they're going with. But like, I'm obviously going to hold off on story details until they start to kind of formulate an opinion. But it would be an interesting precursor, almost like a prequel to some of the games of like how Master Chief got his start, or even like the times before he got the moniker Master Chief, because I imagine he wasn't Master Chief all his career, so to speak. So it'd be interesting to get like kind of like an origin story.
It's always interesting to hear the Spartans call themselves by their names, like John, Kelly, Kim. Like it's Halo Legends did that a little bit. Halo 5 actually did that a little bit when you found Blue Team. Just they're there. Yeah. Blue Team's there.
Yeah.
Whatever. Through 4 games, Master Chief's the only Spartan left, but you find Blue Team in Halo 5 randomly. So, anyways, minor complaint about Halo 5 TV show though. I'll watch a Halo TV show. I don't really care. I know there's been a lot of controversy that they've cast Commander Keyes and Miranda as black actors when they're white in the game, and this is supposedly canonical with the games, but whatever.
You know what's nice about works of fiction? is they could be anything they fucking want to be.
Yeah.
You know, like it doesn't matter whose cast is what.
Yeah.
It's fictional, and
Well,
it doesn't matter. Ultimately, in the end, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, you can take your little freaking. You know, I always get so passionate about this because it's like people are like, oh, you know, why is this person this color? Why is this person that color? You know, like when Hamilton came out, it was like, why is everyone got to be black in this? Because it can. Fuck off.
It's like the Resident Evil the movie or the show, one of the Resident Evil, I think it's the Wesker show, where Lance Reddick was cast as Wesker, and everybody's like, why Wesker's clearly a white guy with like a flat top or whatever, and people just shut up, guys. God, nobody cares.
Like even like Leon Kennedy in the upcoming Resident Evil movie that's coming out this week. I think it's like a part Jordanian. He's part Jordanian.
Yeah.
You know, so everyone's like, well, he's a blonde white guy. Like, that can't be right. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
A fictional character, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny to watch the internet
a white
meltdown.
Oh, yeah.
Would you rather? Yeah. It's like, would you rather they pick a white actor who's not as good at playing the character just because, you know, to stay, you know, like that's the thing, is a lot of the times you end up putting yourself in a position where you maybe, you know, if you try to just stick with what color the original character is, you may lose out on having a good actor or actress playing that part, you know, like
absolutely, especially in the case of the Titans. Corey, I read a lot of back talk about the casting choice that they made for Starfire because she's a black actress, and everyone's like, why, you know, Starfire in the comics, she has orange skin, so why do you cast a black actress to play Starfire? It's like, Starfire is a fucking alien. She can be any damn color she wants. Okay? Yeah. And honestly, the actress that's playing Starfire, she's nailing it.
Dude, she's awesome. She's the best part of that whole show.
Yeah, she's honestly one of the strongest characters in that show, so she is freaking nailing it.
Yeah.
She's a fictional comic book character. Leave it alone. And she can be any damn color that she wants.
And you know what? Yeah. Here's the thing. Maybe, just maybe, they went in with a plan of casting somebody that looked like Leon Kennedy, but this guy gave such an outstanding performance that they just said, we have to cast him.
Yeah.
Maybe they took the most talented person.
Yeah, maybe. You know,
it's called acting.
We like to talk about, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, whatever.
Anyways.
So, I mean, no matter what, someone's always going to have an opinion, and we all know sometimes a lot of times that's the, you know, vocal minority of just people that just get butthurt over things that, you know, you're ruining my childhood. Well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Grow up.
Yeah, and I mean, there is, you know, like there is a double standard in some situations, but like, you know, like, because the thing is I mean, you know, white people have like, we get a lot of privilege and they get a lot of opportunities outside of, you know, of other nationalities. So like when you do have a character that's like Native American or something, like I do believe in trying to stay true to that, just because the fact that we really do not see Native American people in cinema almost at all. Like, like I do think that, you know, that needs to be something that happens more, because they do get overlooked a lot.
Yeah.
You know, so there's situations like that where it's an opportunity that they should be able, that, you know, someone should be able to have. And I you know, it is being taken away and being a white person instead of someone who's Native American, you know, like you know, there are double standards, but you know, that's life, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be like that. Whatever. I mean, we could take a too deep dive into this, but I think ultimately in the end, it's just, you know, some people, you're not gonna please everybody. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So. Anyway.
All right, we're moving on from Halo, guys. Okay, we're gonna move on from Halo. We're gonna talk about.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Forza Horizon 5, guys. Forza Horizon 5.
Why can't I call it Forza? I have this problem. I always say Forza.
I think it.
Yeah.
Is it Forza?
I'm incapable of calling it Forza. No, it is Forza. You're right.
Yeah, it is Forza. Yeah.
But I keep saying Forza, and I've said it as long as I've known it, and I just can't get myself to stop saying it. I'm so jealous of you guys that pronounce it correctly. I'm playing Forza Horizon 5, and I'm like, I'm playing Forza. Shit.
Forza Horizon 5 celebrates 10 million players.
God damn it, I'm so jealous.
It's the biggest launch in Xbox history, and it's only getting out of first gear. What a week it's been for Forza Horizon 5. Well, it may not have been nominated for Game of the Year awards. Snubbed.
It's fine. It's fine, okay? It's nominated for Best Sports Title, okay? There ain't going to be FIFA and NBA and
there's
any
no
sports.
There's no
competition. Yeah.
Okay.
So, which is it, and all those games are stupid. Anyway, but I mean, this game, no kind of racing game is ever going to get announced as Game of the Year.
It should,
though. Is what it is.
It should, though.
It should. I agree.
Players are absolutely loving their time with it, and now it's celebrating 10 million players. As a result, it's become the biggest Xbox launch in not just Game Pass history, but Xbox history. So, congratulations, Playground Games. Congratulations, Forza. Congratulations, Turn 10. Congratulations, Xbox, for launching such a successful game.
A racing game. This is what boggles my mind. A racing game.
Yeah.
Becomes Xbox's biggest launch title. It still boggles my mind that, I mean, the game is great. It's phenomenal. It's one of the best racing games to play out there. But the fact that it's received this amount of attention to the point where it's become the biggest launch is just still mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, it's so fun to play. It's so vibrant. I don't really know how to describe it. It's just awesome. It's so good.
With the exception of the acting.
Yeah, well, look, this is a podcast game for me, right? This is just I want to put this in perspective, okay? So 10 million players, right? I know a lot of it has to do with Game Pass, but I want to list off Gran Turismo's franchise sales just to put this into perspective. So, starting with Gran Turismo 3, we'll put it at Gran Turismo 3. Lifetime sales, 14,890,000. Gran Turismo 4, 11.7 million. Gran Turismo 5, 11.9 million. Gran Turismo 6 is 5.2 million. So a huge dip there.
Yeah.
And Gran Turismo Sport topped out at 8 million. So Forza is doing very well, I would say. I'm sure.
And that's what numbers within the first month. That's what's amazing.
Yeah, these are lifetime sales for these games.
Yeah.
And this is just the first, week and a half, 2 weeks. So great job, Forza. I'm sure a lot of people within that first week also bought the premium pack,
Yeah.
Probably I would say probably 15 or 20% at least bought that premium pack, you think?
Yeah, probably maybe a little bit more. Yeah.
Well, no, at least 2.5 million because they had 2.5 million that first weekend, and the game hadn't hit Game Pass yet.
Yeah,
and you had to buy the premium version or buy the premium pack. So at least 2.5 million people bought the premium pack.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that's 25%.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing is that, it's one of those games kind of like back in the day I used to play like Destruction Derby or Jet Moto. Like there's just those games that are so fun that even if you're not into racing, it still has things to pull you in and, make you interested in playing it.
Yeah. All right. We already talked about Forza getting snubbed for Game of the Year. It's going to win Best Sports Game. It's going to win Best Sports Game.
Yeah, I also think, though, Sea of Thieves was snubbed for continuing game. I mean, they released that Pirates of the Caribbean add-on this year, and it wasn't even nominated for Best Continuing Game. Or, like, one of, I was a little more peeved about that because I know like the whole Game of the Year stuff is always kind of been a joke in my opinion anyways.
I mean, the game, let's face it, the Game Awards are more for the announcements than the awards, right? Nobody really cares about the awards, right? Those are things that you read about on the internet. The announcements are what people tune in for. And seems like we're gonna get some Hellblade.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, I think more game developers take more stock in the DICE Awards and the BAFTA Awards and stuff, which actually reward the developers more so than something that's like a Hollywood production style, like, you know, Jeff Keighley Game Awards thing.
Yeah. And I think just honestly, like, you know, even just, you know, like if you know people who like people are on Twitter that have made games and stuff, just like thanking them for what they do and stuff like that. I mean, that's ultimately, you know, like what, you know, like when I want something that I know is like most people aren't going to consider game of the year, like my game of the year every year is like completely different to anything that the media does. But that's because like you know, like it's just some people just deserve that attention without having to be a big name, you know, like I feel like. And so like, yeah, like I just like trying to say, you know, let people know that like what they did, you know, like I've in the past, Rhyme was one of my favorite games, and the guy who did the music for that, like in my opinion, without his music, that game is nothing, because there is no narrative. There is, you know, like the gameplay says stuff, but the music ultimately tells the story. And so I've, you know, thanked him for and told him that like his music was phenomenal, and he did win an award for it that year when that came out. But yeah, it's, you know, like I think just telling people that you're thankful for the stuff they do is like the best way to really, you know, like, I mean, awards are you know, they are what they are, but
anyway.
Two things from Phil Spencer. One's not in our rundown, but I'm gonna bring it up anyway. Phil Spencer seems to really be embracing the fact that he wants the industry to embrace emulation. Wow, that was a Austin Powers allow myself to introduce myself moment.
Allow myself to introduce myself. We actually had a talk about this on EXP Cast today. That's going to be our main topic this week, about who technically is responsible for emulation. And we came to a surprising conclusion about it, you know. So
yeah, what's your thoughts on this?
It's not up to the big three. It's not up to Sony. It's not up to Microsoft. It's not up to Nintendo, because they're businessmen, and you don't make money pushing old games. You don't. And it's almost a waste of time for these big companies to really push for emulation and to get these games running on their systems, and, you know, even just like to get digital storefronts up and whatever. So ultimately it kind of comes down to other hardware manufacturers like Hyperkin and like some other like hardware manufacturers to make these systems that can play some of the original copies. And that's why I think in the end is going to pave the way for, you know, backwards compatibility and emulation. We're not going to get, you know, we're going to get there in time, because I know like hardware wise, you know, companies like Microsoft, Sony, and Xbox hold the rights to their hardware. So that's why you're not going to see a PlayStation 2 system hardware emulator for a long time. But, you know, eventually we'll get there. But ultimately, I don't think, I mean, Microsoft, obviously Phil Spencer says we're done. We did all that we could with all the backwards compatibility games. But, you know, Sony has definitely made it point that we're not going to be developing any, we're not going to have any dedicating any resources to backwards compatibility of any kind, bringing old games in, with the exception of maybe some stuff on PlayStation Now. But you know, they're not going to do it, and nor should we expect them to do it.
Right. Yeah. So I kind of applaud Xbox for at least trying to get a lot of this backwards compatibility stuff. I know what they said was, you know, a lot of the stuff that's left not available was either technologically constrained or just licensing was a huge issue. Whether chasing down the licenses and it's transferred hands so many times I don't even know who to go to first or that kind of thing.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. Jesse, you listen to Nextlander, right? Do you guys listen to the Nextlander podcast? A bunch of ex Giant Bomb guys run that podcast. Did you listen to the interview with?
It was really good.
Yeah, and he was kind of explaining the ins and outs of like actually tracking down the licenses for these old games and actually where do you start. And some start as pipe dreams, and then you like just overnight you find a solution for it. And some of it, he said on an emulation level, sometimes these games used the bugs in the hardware on a hardware level to their benefit, and you actually had to emulate the bugs of the old hardware in the emulation. And then in some cases for original Xbox games, it's actually an emulator of the original Xbox running in an Xbox 360 emulator, which is now running as an emulator on
Xbox One.
So there's like three emulators running at the same time to run this one game. And not only do you have to emulate those virtual machines, you have to emulate the bugs in those virtual machines to get these games to run, and then build. Sometimes they said they'd have to like rebuild code in these games just to get them to run, and then trying to get like then you can brute force your way with the Series S and X power, and to finish what maybe they couldn't finish on the old consoles. And that's where like frame rate boost comes in. That's where these high fidelity textures start coming into play, and just brute forcing your way through these oh my gosh, it was so fascinating. I would highly recommend listening to that interview with the next
and that's why we're not going to see Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo dedicating their time to get this type of hardware and software working on their systems when there's so many more other things they could dedicate working to it. So that's where the onus falls on these other hardware companies to kind of make the system hardware itself to be able to run. I mean, I agree with you, because there's a lot of Nintendo games that have this weird slowdown effect that's natural with the hardware. If you were to run games like that on modern hardware, that wouldn't be there. Well, remember, that was a significant part of those games.
Yeah. Well, remember when Rare Replay, people were playing Rare Replay on the Series X and S, and Conquer was actually broken because the original version of Conquer's Bad Fur Day used the slowdown of the Nintendo 64 to load certain assets to the point where that Series X was running that emulation so fast that it broke the game because of the way and they had to actually go in and like recode some of Conquer's Bad Fur Day on Rare Replay for it to run on the Series X. Fascinating.
Yeah,
I could listen to this shit all day and have no idea what they're talking about, but it's still really fascinating to listen to.
Yeah, and like one of the things they said too, like as to why, a lot of the games that they wanted to make backwards compatible, like that didn't come down to, like getting the rights or whatever. Where they said like certain things where they had issues with them or whatever, but in like them fixing the issue would technically be something that they didn't want to do, because they don't want to take away from the original vision that those creators had. And they felt like if they had to change anything too much, then it wasn't worth pursuing, because now they've done something to someone else's art when that's not what they want to do. They want to preserve it as much as they possibly can and not change it. And then if they had to change it, then it was out. Like they didn't want to do it.
Yeah, they wanted to keep it to the creator's original vision. So
because like he talked about like what was one of them where the people in the crowd were cheering, and they could like change everything, but it made them go faster.
Yeah, I forget what game it was.
They said,
yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember, but they said that we just decided that we weren't gonna do it because
Yeah.
because
I mean,
it
plus you
it
got
made it.
plus like yeah on that level, but also you got to put the not to spend too much longer on this topic, but just you got to put the financial viability of like rebuilding that game and how many people are going to buy it or how many people already own it and are going to notice that crap, and then you just kind of have to move on and pick out better games.
Yeah.
Like one of the games, there are two games that I really wish were backwards compatible and didn't make the cut. Right, Alpha Protocol was one. I really wanted Alpha Protocol. That game is an underrated gem. I know it's buggy. I know it's kind of a piece of crap when you start playing it, but it's such a cool idea and so fun. And I hope, Obsidian or Sega, whoever owns that IP, I hope that we get some sort of successor or whatever to that. And then, what was the other one? I always forget what the other one is. Anyways, we're gonna move on.
Sounds good.
The next story, I'm sure we have a lot to say, and I want to go in saying we have no legal liability to the story. We don't really know what to say legally. We're just gonna kind of give our opinion on it. I don't want to get anybody in trouble here, even though this is kind of a shitty situation. Phil Spencer and Xbox are reportedly evaluating their relationship with Activision. And I know that PlayStation came out and kind of gave the same message. Jim Ryan wrote a blog post about it, or a email to employees that ended up on a blog post somewhere. Xbox boss Phil Spencer has reportedly told staff and his team that they are, quote, deeply disturbed and troubled by the horrific events and actions, unquote, at Activision. Following allegations of sexual misconduct and harassment, the story was brought back to the forefront this week after the Wall Street Journal published a report alleging that CEO Bobby Kotick had been aware of sexual misconduct allegation for years at the company. This also led to over 100 employees staging a walkout soon after, protesting outside the Blizzard Entertainment campus. There's also a walkout staging happening either this week or next week of over 500 employees. I don't know if they're off for the holiday or whatever. It's getting pretty bad over there. It
really
bad.
is. I think as more time goes on, more heads start to roll, and more. It's like nothing ever comes out that it's good for Activision. I mean, It sucks because there's a lot of good people working for Activision.
Yes,
and there's a lot of hardworking people out there, good people. But your reputation for the company that you work for and the hard work that you're doing is marred by this shit, by just terrible people that are just really dragging the company down and even dragging your name down, even though you could be a completely innocent party in this. And it's going to strain your relationship all throughout the future.
Yeah. It's it's rough over there for sure. I think this whole company is just in a bad situation, and I really hope they find a way to fix this. We already know that PlayStation is not afraid to pause sales on certain games because of quality or other circumstances. I wonder if PlayStation's reevaluating their marketing stance on Call of Duty. I wonder. This is a really bad situation that every day just seems. I open Twitter and it's just like Activision Blizzard is trending, or Bobby Kotick is trending, and I forget what her name is, who was elected to co-lead Blizzard, left because she wasn't getting paid as much as Mikey Barra, right?
And then as she was leaving, they offered her more money.
Yeah,
they offered to match the pay, and it was like, where the fuck was that in the first place?
Yeah,
that's what was aggravating about that story. And it was like, man, you guys are just like keep digging that hole.
I understand that Mikey Barra ran, part of Microsoft for a long time, and he went to Blizzard to kind of, lead the way on specific projects, and then he got promoted. Like, I get that he has more experience than her, but like, you're giving the same position to two people.
Yeah.
They should be making the same amount of money regardless of experience. You should just be doing that. And I know some things started coming out that Mike Ibarra knew and didn't say anything, which I don't know how true that is. I have heard Mike Ibarra kind of stand up for people in the past. I don't know what's true and what's not. He's always seemed like a person to root for over there, if anybody. But obviously I don't know the situation. If he didn't stick up for her, that's obviously another terrible thing. But like, you're giving the same person the same job. Why are you making less?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
No, does not.
Yeah, and like, and again, this is just me like speculating and just like thinking and looking back at things and stuff. And I've kind of felt this way since a lot of this stuff was happening, that, like Microsoft used to have the exclusivity deal with Activision with Call of Duty and stuff, and then just out of nowhere they decided that it wasn't worth trying to pursue or throw money at.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of odd, and so I don't know.
Well,
like, again,
also I think
speculating.
I also think it was coming at a time where leadership change was happening at Microsoft, and Xbox was clearly losing, and Call of Duty wanted too much money, and PlayStation was really ready to pony it up because they didn't have any multiplayer stuff. Where Xbox had Halo and Gears coming. They have the multiplayer games where they didn't need to spend the money, where PlayStation only had the single player over the shoulder action games, right, that we all know and talk about. So I know that, like, that's also, like, could have played a big part of the fact that like Xbox One was not in any position to hold a lot of power, like as far as bringing them having that exclusivity deal. I mean, it probably would have brought some people over, but a lot of people were getting PlayStations at that time. Yeah.
But like, but I, like, the only reason I thought of that is because, like, like, you wonder if there's people that were, women or other people that were working there, seeing these things. And I mean,
there was stuff in
developers and stuff go everywhere. So
I mean, there was stuff in this case file that said that he threatened to have one of his assistants killed or something. Like,
yeah.
Jeez.
But then you look at, like, if they did let him go, right? Which, look, I would rather just pay him out and get him out of there and get new leadership. I think that's just the better option. But like, before bonuses and everything this year, he was scheduled to make what, like 155 million. Like, with before stock options, if they made him resign or whatever, he would be making $255 million plus stock options. He would never have to work another day in his life. He would probably go open some consulting firm. He would probably go do something else in the tech industry somewhere as like a consultant or a, something. He would be totally fine,
Yeah.
And like, people look at that. Go ahead, Jesse.
In a perfect world, every single person that didn't do anything wrong that works at Activision or Blizzard would be able to just sue the S out of this guy of every single penny that he owns for damages, because now their job has been compromised because of their SC ways of doing things. And like, that's the thing, is it isn't fair to those people that have been working hard, and his stupid choices now have made it to where their work isn't going to see as many people's eyes as it possibly should have, and that's not their fault. And and like I've said in the past, that I wasn't gonna buy like Activision games and stuff like that, but that's my choice, and I don't have anything against people who still want to support them, because I do think those people that didn't do anything wrong should be supported.
Yeah.
But this just kind of puts you in a situation where I don't really know what to do, because no matter what,
there's nothing you can do. That's the problem.
Well,
There's nothing you personally as a consumer can do. Yeah, you can admittedly, like, oh, I'm not going to buy any games from them, which that's fine if that settles your conscience. That's enough, but that's about all you can do.
Yeah.
Unless you literally marched up there, punched Bobby Kotick in the face a couple times, and then walk out. But of course, naturally, that's not going to end well for you because you're gonna go to jail, bro.
Yeah, because that's the thing is they've got so much money that ultimately it really does not matter what happens in the end because he's still going to be so stinking rich that
it just doesn't matter.
It's that's why I think they make him into the, like I said last night, make him into the Gimp from Saints Row. Hook a cart up to him and make him have to take people from the building to their cars that work. Turn them into, like just something that basically people can laugh at.
Wow.
But I don't know.
So, yeah, sorry everybody at Activision. We feel for everybody that's going through something over there that's not a piece of shit. So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on. I'm tired of talking about that garbage.
Yeah.
Speaking of garbage, Multiversus.
Whoa.
I'm just
start that again.
I needed a transition, Stoy. Okay, I work on these transitions.
You need to think hard about your transitions because that was terrible. Okay.
Speaking of thinking hard.
Speaking of things I want to talk about instead. That's a better transition.
Multiversus is WB's free-to-play version of Smash Brothers, and it's heading to Xbox in 2022. Warner Brothers has announced that Multiversus is coming to Xbox in 2022, which will be taking the form of a Smash Brothers clone in a free-to-play format, starring the likes.
It is Multiversus. Oh my God! All throughout our podcast today, we all said multiverse.
Oh.
Shit.
Oh well.
Anyway, keep going.
Starring the likes of Batman, Bugs Bunny, Superman, and even Shaggy. Here are the confirmed.
And we're talking Ultra Shaggy, the meme Shaggy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The game will feature a, quote, innovative 2v2 co-op focused experience with, quote, intense 1v1 and 4-player free-for-all modes and can be online or offline. Here are some of the confirmed characters. Along with their voice actors. Batman, voiced by Kevin Conroy. Superman.
The only voice of Batman.
Yeah, the only acceptable voice at this point. If you're doing something animated or video game like.
Mm-hmm.
Superman, voiced by George Newbern. Wonder Woman, voiced by Abby Trott. Harley Quinn is voiced by Tara Strong, which is, I think all those are from the animated series versions of those characters.
Yep.
Shaggy is being voiced by Matthew Lillard, which is acceptable.
Which is fine. Which is funny because he hates that he's so typecasted as Shaggy.
But
here he is. Like
they probably just paid him a ton of money for that, though. What's he doing these days, right?
That is true.
Bugs Bunny, voiced by Eric Bauza. Sure. Macy Williams returns as Arya Stark. Jake the dog is voiced by John DiMaggio, also of Marcus Phoenix fame.
Mm-hmm.
Finn the Human from Adventure Time by Jeremy Shada. Steven Universe, voiced by Daniel DeVenier. Garnet from Steven Universe, voiced by Estelle. Tom and Jerry. Awesome. and Rain Dog, an extraordinary original creature, voiced by Andrew Frankel. So that's cool. This is something. Did you see that one of the developers of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl or whatever that game's called is like basically shit on their own game, but without shitting on it by congratulating them and saying how good of a thing that they're doing with online netcode and voice characters and having a budget to work on their game. Like that was kind of funny to hear or read. But yeah, man, this game is, if you're into Warner Brothers properties and DC comedy or properties, this seems to be the Smash Brothers game for you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the look of Shaggy though. He looks bad.
Really quick. So my daughter loves the Paw Patrol. And I had bought the original game for her for Switch, and yeah, that was one of the first things that hits you in the face when you play that game. There is no voice acting, none of the dogs, nothing, and that's like the whole part of that game. Like, it's just such a waste of time. Like, why? Like, how can you seriously make a kid's game and not have what's going to ultimately be one of the most important things to whether a kid's going to enjoy it or not, to actually have the voices of the characters?
Right.
It is so dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Nickelodeon is just so bad about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they really need to rethink their strategy when it comes to stuff.
Yeah. It's yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. But hope everybody enjoys that. Hope everybody enjoys this free to play. I wonder what the pricing model is going to be.
This is actually a game I may be into.
Well, good.
Yeah, I may actually get into.
You sound like the guy that's going to review it for Arsenal X. Thank you. Congratulations.
Oh boy. Whenever this comes out, sure.
Yeah, I mean, they've got so many properties that they can pull from. I mean, like, could we eventually see like like Tamed Down Scorpion, or or Sub-Zero, or or whatever, like, I mean, they have a lot of different things they could pull from that they own.
Does anybody have anything else to say about Multiversus? Yeah, versus.
No. I mean, I'm excited for it. So, I mean, at least intrigued.
Yeah, same.
Cool. All right, we're gonna move on to our next segment. Next segment. Pass it on. What's on Game Pass this week? We're gonna pass it on to Stoy. Stoy, what's good on Game Pass this week that we should be checking out or new?
Well, this is not only is this game coming out this week, but it's also coming out on Game Pass. It's called Deer Simulator, and it's got 4 E's in it, I think.
4
but
E's.
Like, and it's basically it's called Deer Simulator, your average everyday deer game, because it's an average everyday deer game. Now, I'm gonna read the description. Deer Simulator is a game in which you take on the role of your average everyday deer. Use your stretchy neck, your stabby horns, and everything a deer has in its arsenal to tear through the city. Frolic and play with the other animals, or decimate the city till there's nothing left in this slow lifetime destruction game. Get up to enough naughtiness and you'll have to face off against some extra tough animal police. Kung Fu master sheep, bears who transform into police cars, and rabbits with ridiculously overdeveloped ears. They're all out to get you. Live life as a deer in the city and unleash your true potential. And don't forget to uncover the dark secrets behind the city.
Let's watch this trailer real quick. I'm gonna watch this trailer.
Watch the trailer. Like, it is amazing. Like, all the different kind of wild transformations. Yeah, you can web swing throughout the city using your neck. So it's like Spider-Man meets John Wick. Like, some of the gun battles that you get with this deer man, it's like you're John Wick.
So it's like Goat Simulator, but even better.
No, it's not Goat Simulator. It's nothing like Goat Simulator.
Oh my god!
Oh, okay.
It's crazier than Goat Simulator.
Okay.
What is happening? What?
Yeah, what is happening?
What is this?
What's kind of funny is we've got a.
There's a deer on a motorcycle. He became a motorcycle.
Yeah, he becomes the Akira motorcycle, bro. He becomes Akira. It's amazing.
He replaces antlers with 2 handguns.
Hell yeah, he does. All of us are playing this game. We're all going to talk about it next week, right?
Yep.
Hell yeah, let's go.
I'm definitely playing it.
Yeah, it's so batshit crazy, but it sounds like amazing. So, otherwise, Mortal Shell, that's an older game. That one's coming out on Game Pass as well, and this is like it's like referred to as Dark Souls Light, where it's like kind of the same kind of combat styling, dark fantasy realm stuff, like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and stuff like that, but it's a little bit easier on the palate. So if you're the type of gamer that loves like kind of those kind of action games, but don't like the punishing difficulty, obviously give this game a shot. But it's Mortal Shell Enhanced Edition.
I'll just say that it's not much easier.
Okay.
It's still really, really hard. I've played this quite a bit. It's just they add some more like they add like a whole like the ability to like kind of harden your shell, so when you get attacked, their attack will bounce off of it, and then you can like if you harden your shell while you're in the middle of an attack and then they hit you, then you can unharden and you'll follow through with the attack and miss theirs. But it's really, really hard to do a parry in this game, like way harder than a Bloodborne or a Dark Souls. So yeah, I mean it's still really hard.
It's still a challenge, but it's not like punishingly difficult. Okay, all right. Yeah. Well, that's fine. Well, I mean that's what you get. That both of these games actually come out to Game Pass on October 23rd. So, which is by the time you listen to this podcast, it should be available for you to download right now as we speak. So.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is true.
So, but otherwise, that's what's coming out this week. I think next week there's only like going to be like one game coming out for Game Pass, unless Game Pass shadow drops something.
Which they might. They do a lot.
Yeah. There is a big rumor that Mass Effect Legendary Edition is going to come out for Game Pass. There's a big rumor for that because I think EA and BioWare has made their money back and then some.
Well, it's also it'll probably be part of EA Play.
Yeah. So who knows when that's going to happen? Stay tuned for that. But
I'm glad I bought it and have not played it yet. I bought it the day it came out and have not played it yet.
I bought it twice. I have it both for the Xbox and the PlayStation because I in case you guys didn't know, I kind of like the Mass Effect series.
I didn't know. Do you? I'm not sure.
Kind of. I mean, I dabble into it. Dabble. So yeah, that's what's coming out for Game Pass.
I love it. I love Game Pass so much so that we're going to talk about it for our main topic.
Yay.
Right.
So Jesse and I were talking about this when we were playing Halo last night. So I figured I'd kind of hit two birds with one stone here. Game Pass has been confirmed by the Xbox team, and I think Phil Spencer himself, that it is sustainable and expected to hit 30 million subscribers by the new year. Xbox Series S is also outselling the Series X in key regions. So let's talk.
That seems to be Xbox S. I think is more readily accessible. Like in terms of
it definitely feels that way.
Yeah,
and it's also one of the only consoles that's available in store when you go in. So,
yep. I was at Walmart one day and there was 5 of them and 5 of them available.
Yeah,
they were gone like later, but
I
like it.
I mean, not like a really big deal, but I really kind of regret getting rid of my Xbox One. I kind of wish I still had it, but I got rid of it because what was coming. I got rid of it because the Series X is basically a quadruply powerful Xbox One X, and I just figured I didn't really need it, but I kind of wish I still had an Xbox One of some sort somewhere. I might still just go. I might just get an Xbox One S to just have.
Just to have, yeah.
Yeah, just to like.
Yeah, I actually I still have my Xbox One X. I had an S, but I traded that in when I got the X And part of me thinks like, oh man, I wish I held on to that too, because it was the military green one, which is it was really cool.
Yeah,
really cool color scheme.
Yeah. So I don't know. I might find one, or somebody wants to offload one. Just hit me up, I guess.
Yeah, I still have my original release of the Xbox One, the big VCR one.
Oh yeah.
I kept both of mine because my daughter now, she uses that original one, and my son uses my 1X, and and we can still play stuff together this way, and I was talking about maybe getting my son GamePass for Christmas or something. So yeah, because I mean, they'll use it. They don't care. They don't need the latest greatest thing. Down the line, I'll probably I would like to get them both Series S or whatever, or but yeah, it's just kind of nice that the way Xbox is doing stuff, that they'll be able to use those for a while yet. So
yeah. By the way, if you're listening to us, this week, Target and GameStop have 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate for $24.99. So you should get on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good deal.
It definitely is a good deal. Like, it's even just to kind of like try it out, and just, I mean, you can peruse the library right now, not being a Game Pass subscriber, and just see what's on there. But as we talk about every week, there's always a rotating stock of games, and admittedly, some games do leave the service. But even if you are a Game Pass subscriber, you can purchase those games for a discount too. So it's like,
yeah,
you're getting a discount service as well on top of it.
If you're playing something that's leaving soon, it's usually like, if you subscribe to Game Pass to purchase it, there's something between like a 25 and 50% discount for that game.
Yeah.
As it's leaving the service, so you can still continue to buy it, which I still usually buy the games that I want. Like, eventually I will buy Halo Infinite just to, in case I need to like cut my subscription off, which, by the way, if I can't afford $15 a month, there's way bigger issues in my life than, whatever. But
yeah, for sure.
I mean, I usually try to buy the games that I want. Also, Stoy, by the way, when you were on the Boss Rush podcast the other week talking about collecting vintage or retro and classic games,
mm-hmm.
you made me make a list of Xbox games to start collecting, and I really hate you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Like,
my finger found that little spot. My finger found that little spot underneath your body there, that little fleshy bit right there. It poked you right there. Gotcha.
It's all 4 generations, Stoy, not just.
Wow.
Yeah. So I hate you.
Wow.
But I also love you. But I also hate you.
You're welcome.
So
you're welcome on all fronts. You're welcome on all fronts.
And all backs.
Yeah. And all bits underneath you. No, yeah. This only cemented, like, every time I hear more backwards compatibility stuff, it always cements my want for more, and it's, I sometimes I have every ounce of my being of just like going to these conventions and whatever, and just like, man, I just want to buy all these. But like, I still have my original Xbox, so I can always still go back to play these, but
Yeah, my new mission is also to collect like one of every box that's come out. So like, I will get like the green Halo Xbox at some point.
Yeah.
I still have my original black one.
Very cool.
But I don't have very many of my original Xbox consoles at all, actually, except for obviously the Series S and X, and then my original one, like my 360, I got rid of to buy my Xbox One, and the one I have now was a second party one. So I will probably go out and find. The one I had was the Halo 4 translucent blue console.
Ooh,
which was awesome, and I hate
awesome.
I hate that I got rid of it.
That's probably worth a lot of money now.
I know, it's kind of expensive to repurchase. Any of the Halo consoles are actually really expensive, Except for the original green Halo 2 console is not expensive, which is crazy to think.
So kind of, I guess shifting back over to the to the topic about Game Pass is that everything now is a subscription service. Like that seems to be kind of the growing trend everywhere we go. Music consumption is a subscription service. TV is it's always been a subscription service, but even just like particular channels and particular streaming services like subscription. All these shit people that are getting like cameras to put inside their house for some reason, like you have to pay a subscription service for that. So that model is becoming kind of more of a trend. So why not video games kind of jump on the bandwagon? And admittedly, it's hard to conceive that you can put a $60 game on a subscription service that you only pay like a nominal amount of, because you don't want to pay $60 a month for a video game subscription service, especially if you don't play a lot of the games. So this was a big gamble for Xbox, and I imagine it was a huge trial series to say, let's just see how this works out. Let's see if it's a viable business solution. And sure enough, is with the numbers that we've seen lately of like just how many people are subscribed to this, it's clearly working. And I think, Microsoft used that Game Pass as a platform to, when they talk to other developers, to say, hey, we want to get you on. Our system is going to be the system that the majority of people are going to play their games on, play your games on because of the Game Pass subscription. How many people are going to download Deer Simulator this week? Admittedly, it's such a weird ass game that it's like, I don't know if I want to spend $20-$30 on it, but the fact that it's on Game Pass now kind of entices you more. So, and then especially works for indie developers to entice them to buy your game, and that creates word of mouth, which that's what I heard has been the most successful thing for Game Pass is the word of mouth of, especially for the people that don't have the subscription.
I mean, look at Back 4 Blood, right? Like they were celebrating like something like, I don't know, 5 or 6 million players, and most of that was the Xbox Game Pass version. I think they said 2/3 of it was Xbox Game Pass, which is crazy. But like, look at all the money, like the microtransactions, right? I wonder how much it's changed people's perception of designing games to say, hey, if we're going to put this on Game Pass, we better have something for them to buy outside of that. Like, obviously, Microsoft has the base versions, and then you buy the expansions or the gold pack or whatever, right? Like Forza Horizon 5 is a prime example of that. But, Back 4 Blood, there was like a digital deluxe edition, and you could purchase that pack separately. I wonder if people bought that pack separately, or I know they said there's DLC coming for that game and stuff. So, I mean, that's kind of their strategy there, right? Also, like, I think the big turning point for Game Pass was adding Microsoft first party day and date. Obviously, Microsoft was in a bad spot when they were there, right? When they did that, but also it's also helped a lot of games succeed, like Sea of Thieves, huge game. And I think it's because so many people downloaded it on Game Pass, and then when they put it on Steam, obviously it grew new legs, and it's just, Sea of Thieves is just this monster that nobody ever talks about, but makes a buttload of money anyway. It's like Minecraft almost, right? Where people play it, but you don't know anybody that actually plays it except for Jesse. But I mean, I would like to do an episode of the show from Sea of Thieves. Jesse and I have been talking about that for years, I think, at this point.
Yeah, a long time.
Maybe that's something we could plan over the holidays or something as like a bonus show or something. But yeah, I think that was a big turning point for Xbox, especially when you started seeing games like Sea of Thieves, which grew into itself. But then you saw something like Gears 5 was the game that you pointed and said, this game is a $60 game, and I can just pay $10 a month and play this. And that's why Forza
Horizon 5 is a huge success because of Game Pass.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have made that much money or made that many downloads if it wasn't for Game Pass.
Well, I think too, like, like the whole idea of Xbox wanting to let people do their passion projects is, like Game Pass like gives them that security that they can allow people to just do whatever they want, and know that, even if it isn't the greatest game in the world, one, the people are still getting to make what they wanted to make, and two, they're still getting paid for making what they wanted to make, and it's not hurting Microsoft in any way. It's just either something that you're interested in playing or not, and it's just that, it's nothing more than that.
It's a different way to look at, like, obviously it's a consistent revenue stream for them, right? $15 a month from 28 million subscribers or whatever is ridiculous amount of revenue. But like you said, Jesse, if studios aren't worried about selling their next AAA title, then they feel free to do what they want. And obviously Phil Spencer has obviously said that you can make whatever game you want that's been out there. But also when you look at the revenue stream, it's not like Obsidian needs to make this certain amount of money. Rare needs to make this certain amount of money. The revenue goes to Microsoft, and then they umbrella it out to the studios, to kind of funnel money into where they see the projects need the money. And I think that changes the way they think about making games as well. Is like they pitch a game. Obviously, right? Ninja Theory made Bleeding Edge, right, which was a $30 game. Varying success rate. I don't know. It was a passion project for them. They put it on Game Pass, right? That's obviously going to get a different budget than something like Starfield or Halo or Forza, right? But then you have Psychonauts, which was obviously crowdfunded, but Microsoft gave them a bigger budget to finish the game and do more things. Because remember when Tim Schafer said that they were actually cutting stuff out of the game because they didn't have the budget for it. They were literally running out of money before Microsoft purchased them. And look how well that game turned out, because they got more money, more time, bigger budget, that kind of thing. So it's cool to look at it from that perspective as well.
Yeah, and ultimately in the end, like, like everyone really wants as an artist or a person who, has that job, they want to make sure that they can pay their bills and stuff like that, and be secure in that way. But they also just want people to be able to play their games. Like in the end, that's really all they want. And Game Pass gives people the chance to be able to play games without having to make the sacrifice of spending $40 to play something they don't know whether they're going to like or not. Like that part is gone. You may not end up liking it may not be for you, but guess what, they're still glad that someone got to see their vision, and and that's ultimately is what's important to them in the end. So
yeah, I mean, everybody wants that chance, and Game Pass is that really good, or the Game Pass is that really good platform to, it's the whole try before you buy. That's why, demos have always been such a hot topic, because you never know, like, am I going to like this game? Am I not? Is this something that I really want to potentially waste money on? And, making a demo for a video game developer takes a lot of time and effort and money. So they would rather not spend those money and those resources developing demos. They just want to make the game. Whether you like it or not, that's kind of your risk.
Plus this week, adding the cloud, play from the cloud stuff on your console is awesome with Game Pass, because while it's downloading, you can play it from the cloud and be like, okay, well, I can start this game. Or if your friends are on and you don't really care about the first hour or two of like, hey, this game's still downloading, I gotta wait for it, like, you can go ahead and jump in with your friends and play and be like, okay, well, it's a little laggy, it's a little choppy, whatever, but like, I can handle this while it's downloading in the background on my box. And it's so cool. It's such a good thing to have, and they just kind of stealth dropped that as well this week.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. I love it.
Oh, there's so many there's so many different options that Game Pass offers that, you know, it's selling systems. I mean, ultimately in the end, I mean, it's going to get people to buy the Microsoft system, you know, the Series X or the Series S, even the Xbox Ones, you know, still can sell.
It's almost adjacent to the Nintendo strategy, where like Nintendo kind of wants to be your second console, and if everybody buys your console as a second console, you're the first console, you know, you come out on top. Like the Switch, that's why the Switch is so successful. It's everybody's second console right now. And it's like, well, yeah. Well, now you're looking at it eclipsing 100 million units sold. And okay, well, now magically you're on top. And I think if Xbox can capture that, especially with the Series S, right? How many people have you heard say, well, I'll get a Series S to play the Microsoft exclusives for Game Pass? And they do that, and now you're seeing Series S starting to sell more and more and more, to the point where it's outselling the Series X in a lot of quote unquote key regions in this interview, because people want to play the Microsoft exclusives now. Surprise! Microsoft makes games, guys.
And like that, and obviously the whole like shift to digital.
Yeah,
that people want to go to versus, you know, physical, which a lot of games that are on Microsoft Game Pass are digital only. They're not like physical games. You can't walk into a GameStop or a Best Buy and buy Deer Simulator. You know,
you should.
It's
one possible.
So I would love a physical edition of that game. Hopefully
limited run. Yeah.
Hopefully limited run gets to work on it. But yeah, like that's, you know, that's kind of the push to why more people want the PlayStation 5 digital version, you know, over the disc version. So
but it almost seems like Xbox is the console that people prefer digital over physical. I mean, I know a lot of people who play a lot of physical PlayStation, and obviously Nintendo fans are just eating up the physical editions, right? Like that's like their whole thing. But Xbox is like the one place where everybody kind of feels like it's okay to play the digital versions. But like you said, with the growth of digital distribution, you know, for the first time last year, really being over the 50% total sales mark, Xbox I think is leading in that that area. And then, you know, people are buying PlayStation and they're like, hey, the Xbox has some cool exclusives, let's check those out. And the Series S is obviously thriving there as well. So, and by the way, just to kind of correct something I said a couple weeks ago when I started playing Guardians of the Galaxy on the Series S, they put out a patch this week. It's not a 60 frames patch. It's a quote uncapped frame rate patch, and it runs up to 60 frames a second. And for like I played a little bit on the Series S just to get that, and it runs pretty well. It doesn't run as great as the Series X, but it runs in between 50 and 60 frames a second, I would say. I haven't had any real slowdown. So just a caveat there. Cool. Because I remember I said this was the first game that I thought, you know, I don't know if the Series S is a viable long-term next-gen solution for third-party games. You can, they put out a patch for the Series S and it's great. So you can,
cool.
It kind of reiterate, okay, people just need to optimize their games for this machine to make sure that it runs at 1080p, 50 to 60 frames a second. There you go. Anybody have anything to say about the Series S, by the way?
That's good enough. I still want a Series S. Hopefully at some point I'll get one. I don't know. I'm not in a rush to get it, but I think eventually that will be one of my next big purchases.
I want that screen. There's a Kickstarter for a Series S mobile screen.
Oh, screen. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, man, because like I'm gonna have to travel for work a little bit, and if I can take my Series S with me on work trips, it's like, oh my gosh, dude, this is gonna be the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And it's got a battery built in, so you can plug it into it and play it without having to find like a power outlet on an airplane or something.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Neat. Someone needs to make a monitor for this damn thing.
Yeah.
All you
'cause I
tech savvy people get on it.
Yeah, because I remember
Need
that
this.
was the whole thing. It was like it's basically a laptop. You
Yeah.
know? Like you can just flip up the screen, and it's like, yeah.
Gosh.
Now they just need to make an arcade stick that you can just mount to the top of it, and you can like sit there and play it like it's an arcade.
Kind of cool, yeah.
Well, I don't want the show to end, but we have been going for 2.5 hours, and I think it's time to wrap the show. It is getting late too. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank everybody.
I think it was all good conversation, good content.
It was,
as always, jumping.
It was.
Yes.
Yep.
So just a real quick hit here. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I just want to say, like, since we kind of regrouped and made the show into what the current form is, and found its groove and found its, kind of place in
Identity.
the pantheon of Boss Rush shows, and kind of reinvigorated the show. I'm very proud of what RSMX has become, and I love doing this every Sunday. It's awesome. I love planning the show. It's gotten me kind of back into not that I was out of the Xbox ecosystem. It's my system of choice when I'm playing games, but like has me exploring new things within the Xbox ecosystem, and just want to thank you guys.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. It's not been, Jesse.
It is
a lot of
yes.
fun. Jesus.
Yeah, I enjoy this every weekend. So
So also,
it definitely is a lot of fun. I mean, admittedly, it's kind of interesting because I play such a diverse cast of systems, and there will be times that maybe I won't play the Xbox as much during the week, but I always go back to it, and I still dedicate myself to this day of just like Xbox is the system to play games on right now. Yeah, I mean every system has its strength, but I just think in the quality of the library and the accessibility of playing these games, it's just it's awesome on the Xbox right now.
And I think part of that is thanks to them, the criticize that or something they got criticized for, not really changing the UI much. Like that ended up really being detrimental to really, keeping a good like system that you can like find things and do things on. Like, they've improved things, but they really haven't changed it a whole lot.
Right.
And I think that ended up being a good thing for them, because like a lot of people were not happy with the PS5 and like trying to find their way around to do things and stuff. So, I mean, I think that's the thing is I hate when you get something and then they end up changing it anyways, because it's like, you get so used to and loving something, and then they go and they just completely change everything, and sometimes it's just not a good idea. And I'm glad that they saw that this time around.
Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that out there and say, I'm really proud of the show and where it's going, and I want to, over the next year, my goal is to like get more guests on that are kind of prominent in the Xbox ecosystem or Xbox community.
Try not to put the invite out for guests 2 hours before recording.
Yeah, I thought about that, and I was like, whatever.
It was worth a shot, but you never know.
I was like, you know what? Somebody will respond, somebody might not. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I just thought that was funny. I was like, we recorded 2 hours.
Yeah. Look, sometimes people are up for it, Sometimes people are like, well, I got nothing going on Sunday night. Let's play some Xbox. So, but I want to get more people on, whether they're in the Boss Rush community or in the Xbox community, or I started following and reaching out to some ambassadors from the Xbox Ambassador Program, or just try to get people in to interview or whatnot. So maybe we'll start doing that kind of stuff. I would like to have.
Takes a little bit of time.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
So I mean, I know this is episode 164, but it's really like episode 12 of the new iteration, and I want to start building it the right way, the way Phil Spencer built Xbox the right way.
Very cool.
Not that I'm Phil Spencer, because I'm sitting in an office with no doors listening to my son scream still, but anyways, I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. Remember, you can find Arsenal X live every Sunday night on twitch.tv/Boss Network. You can find us on Tuesday mornings on bossrush.net, on our YouTube channel, and podcast services everywhere. Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS.
Stoy, where can we find you?
I am also part of the EXP Cast. We're a video game podcast. You can follow us anywhere on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at EXP Cast. And I also actually started kind of going back to my personal Twitter. I changed the name now. It's Stoy MKE8. So you can follow me on Twitter at Stoy MKE8.
Neat. You can follow me at I am Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me hosting the Boss Rush podcast every Monday morning on bossrush.net and podcast services. You can catch me maybe playing some games soon on somewhere. I don't know. We're going to try to do some Xbox related gameplay stuff and discussions and extra bonus things for YouTube and whatever. Catch us there. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and or listening, and we will catch you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
It's on.